Say a prayer for the farmers of America because barns have been burned. There were barn burners on tonight's show, darn it. We're here to talk about Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. I am joined by the American SP3, who is back from England on a more digestible time zone, at least, to review these, but he's always burning the midnight oil. He's getting shouted out in Becky Lynch promos. It's SP3. What's going on?
Don't believe a word that Nikki Bella tells you. Everyone should care what I say. But yes, I'm happy to be here. Our what is it? I can't even say it's like tri-monthly. It's like quarterly, yearly, quarterly runs of talking about Ring of Honor here on the main Fightful channel, talking about ROH Death Before Dishonor, which Hate put it best before we went live. It was an ROH pay-per-view. So that means it was very entertaining. Good to great wrestling throughout the night. That will go absolutely nowhere.
That is correct. It is. I like the way you put that because it's like nothing makes me want to talk about wrestling more than like it's our Q3 ROH pay-per-view review. I love the big four. Like I like that format. I just, of course, wish the weekly television was more consistent in between to get us there. But these pay-per-views always show out. We've got some incredible matches to talk about. Get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. Most importantly, it's Sean Ross Sapp's birthday now. So give the boss a shout out. Wish Sean Ross Sapp a happy birthday. Give him something nice to read on Twitter for a change if you can. But happy birthday to Sean. He's the reason for the season, SP3. He is the reason we all get paid. Yes. We hope that he has a very happy birthday and year ahead. But we're going to talk about
happy birthday. Happy birthday to Sean. We love you, Sean. We thank you for everything that you do, media-wise, what you do for us here at Fightful. But bump all that. I got something to say. On this channel, a miscarriage of justice happened on this channel on Monday.
It did.
Did you know that Shawn wasn't in on the joke that I'm the Sports Illustrated in every Becky Lynch promo?
I didn't know this.
He put out a tweet, and I said nothing about it. I was like, you know what? It's all right. It's all right if he doesn't know the lore. It's okay. Because he was like, I find it funny that every time Becky Lynch says Sports Illustrated, it's because Rick Ucchino is a big fan of hers. And shout outs to the people in the chat here on the Fightful main channel. Shout outs to the THH Shooter, Power Gyro Finisher, who was like, nah, it's actually the article that SP3 wrote. And Shawn still denied him. It was like Peter in that story about Jesus, and he denied Jesus 3 times. Like, he denied it first time, then someone tried to correct him. He's like, nah, I still don't know Jesus. It's like, what?
Well, if we know anything, it's that Shawn doesn't know Jesus. But I think he's trying to sow dissension in the Collision stable, which I like.
He is,
because like you are right on the periphery, and he's Bullet Club jumping you out with it. You're never getting the Collision T-shirt, man. You're never getting the Collision T-shirt. I might have sent him the article after I saw that. I was like, no, man, it's right here. It's right here.
He's been summoned to In the Weeds. We summoned him on Tuesday, and he's like a broke baby daddy avoiding child support. He's avoiding the sub. He saw the lady with the summons thing, and he was like, I can't go home. He's like going on the way. It's ridiculous.
He is hitting the road. He's like, I'm gonna be off for my birthday. He's dodging it. He's shirking all responsibility. My God, show up to In the Weeds, eat your eggs. As he used to do. That used to be the thing. Shawn shows up and eats his eggs, but it also used to be the thing that Joel Pearl would come to town, but he's not there anymore, really. It's all SP3 now, so that's it. It's an upgrade. I'll say it. Come after me, Joel Pearl. All right? I'm in a fighting mood after ROH, but let's dig into this. we're going to take a quick moment to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. We've plugged Shawn's birthday. We might as well talk about what the man does around here. And that's the best scoops in the game on FightfulSelect.com. One thing that we could talk about right away that I was so happy to see was there's just an incredible amount of love, it sounds like, for Ian Riccaboni at AEW. And I've been singing his praises for a long time. And it's so funny because peek behind the curtain, guys. I hope you like SP3's analysis because that's mostly what you're getting tonight. I was doing the SmackDown review and also the app was broken. So I was keeping up the best I could. But the thing was, as I was like in and out, Ian and Caprice, man, like their energy and passion is so consistent for the entire pay-per-view. And they both, because also they're just a well-oiled machine. They've been a team for so long. They are unbelievable. And I'm so glad Ian's getting the love. He's my favorite play-by-play guy. Caprice Coleman tonight, though, too. Like, right there as well. Like, that guy doesn't get the credit he deserves because he's unbelievable. They both, with the ROH products, like, nobody knows the brand better. Nobody knows how to work with each other better than these two. I love this duo so much on commentary that even when I was, like, in and out, as soon as I was back in, I was, like, back in because Caprice is just like going nuts and Ian is just painting this poetry with his words along the way. Like they are quite genuinely, like, as far as consistent duos, my favorite. Like Ian and Nigel gives this a run for its money when I get them together. But like I love Ian and Caprice's dynamic. They channeled Joey Styles and Rick Rude. I love that. I love that comparison. Yeah. As far as like setting the tone for the night, I feel like ROH does pay-per-view so well, and the two of them, like, I'm looking at this pay-per-view, it's going on till 11:50 at night or whatever they finally finished it, and their energy there the whole time, assigning so much weight, filling in gaps for people, which, let's be honest, this ended up getting put on YouTube because of technical difficulties. Not everyone's going to know the few stories they are telling, right? So, like, I just think that they did a fantastic job. They always do a great job. I'm always singing their praises, but as far as like things overall that contributed to the success tonight, outside of, we're going to talk about every match, of course, but like these two, man, all day with these two, I could hear them do commentary. What were your thoughts kind of overall on the night? Anything else outside of the ring that you want to shout out before we get into it?
No, I could just echo what you said about, Ian Riccaboni, who I think is like in the top 3 best play-by-play guys in the business today. Like whenever he's on AEW commentary, it is a benefit and a positive to the whole overall AEW commentary experience, which I don't always have a good time with. But when Ian's there, I'm like, hey, we're gonna have a good time tonight. We got someone who's gonna have their energy, who's gonna have the enthusiasm, that knows about all the stories that's going on, all their history as well. He brings so much genuine enthusiasm to his call that is not always there from everybody in the business today. So I was very glad to hear the report that he is loved and he is wanted for more, to do more in AEW, because that was my whole question, and a lot of my friends' question is like, why isn't Ian on commentary more? Like, and it's good to hear that the company loves him a lot and want him to do more, so we can hopefully see that in the future. But yeah, him and Caprice, they just have this just chemistry where they just sound like two friends at the wrestling matches, telling us about the action. If you're a blind man and you can't see the action, they're here to tell you about it, and they do such a beautiful job of painting the picture and putting it all together and bringing the stories to its logical conclusion. And we saw a lot of that during tonight's show, so bravo to those guys. I thought that the pacing of tonight's card was very well done. I think that everyone's gonna have like a nitpick or two, but I didn't think that there was any like glaring issues on match placement or pacing, which tends to be a problem when it comes to these Tony Khan book shows, whether it be AEW and Ring of Honor. But between Forbidden Door and tonight, seems like a problem that they are starting to fix. So I was happy to see that.
This is a Rick of Bone Zone. You're absolutely right about that. So the other thing is, this ended up being free on YouTube, and everybody's asking, like, does YouTube help build the ROH? Do it, TK. Certainly having any paywall is going to lessen accessibility. And when it's the most expensive paywall for the least cared about products, maybe in all of TV wrestling, like that's going to dampen things, right? But I was so encouraged when I turned on YouTube and saw 18,000 people or whatever, like watching right now. I was like, that's awesome. I would love if at least the weekly product moved there and you had the catalog and pay-per-views behind Honor Club. By the way, honorclub.com is now an available domain. I always accidentally type that instead of Watch ROH. It used to be taken. It's available. I hope AEW and ROH know. Just go buy it and redirect it to watchroh.com. But yeah, how are you feeling about the fact that this ended up being accessible on YouTube? Is that something you would like to see them leverage more? Is like the ROH YouTube channel for weekly TV or more specials? They've done things like put Global Wars and certain matches on there and stuff, but a lot of people were like, man, I would watch this more if it was just available on YouTube today.
Yeah, I think that is the route to go. You're absolutely right. Like, put the weekly show on ROH YouTube. Much more people will be watching it that way in comparison to putting it on Honor Club. And like you said, put the Honor Club pay-per-views on the Honor Club app. But we might be going to a stage where all of that's going to be on HBO Max too, and that Honor Club is not going to be a thing anymore because of the direction that AEW's kind of media rights is going to go with the pay-per-views. I think that ROH shouldn't be far behind them.
I am intrigued. I am intrigued to see how that plays out because this is something that birthday boy Sean Rossap has mentioned, and I think a lot of people understand, like, part of what WWE is running into now is like, once you've crossed the Rubicon, you can't go back. Like, once you've made something cheap, you can't then go make it more expensive. If you break the pay-per-view model, you can't go back to pay-per-views realistically. Maybe Big Four, maybe a Fight Pass model or whatever. But once you go there, you can't pull back from there. So my guess is this is purely speculation for me. Follow Andrew Zarian. Mike Johnson had a report on it. Fightful Select will have details for you, etc. But my guess is it's a discount on pay-per-views for being a Max subscriber. So
that would be the smartest thing, unless HBO Max is going to pay them in excess at least $100 million a year. It doesn't make any sense for AEW to sign a deal for less than that if they're making upwards to anywhere between like 5 million to 10 million before expenses on these pay-per-views. It would make more sense if they signed a deal for that much instead of signing something kind of lower that doesn't really work out for them logistics wise. But I think that going to HBO Max is going to make it more accessible to certain people. There is a bunch of people that do watch AEW despite all the arguments that you see on social media. There are people that watch AEW on HBO Max. So I think that putting the pay-per-views over there, even for a discount, I think it's going to go a long way to, broadening their audience a bit.
At least one does, because I'm always watching on HBO Max. I love that broadcast. It's always smooth.
Ever since I've been in back in the US, I've been watching it on HBO Max.
There you go. Gotta love it. Well, let's dig into this. We did get an announcement, SP3, and I'll go ahead and plug some True Heel Heat for you, because SP3 and I did predictions on the True Heel Heat channel, and we said, well, they'll probably do a tag tournament. Right? They had half the card announced, so we had to fantasy book what the card was going to be. And we said, let's do a tag tournament to get to our new tag champions. Instead, they finally announced what this women's pure title tournament was going to be. And we had Taya Valkyrie and Queen Aminata announced. Deonna Purrazzo versus Trish Adora, who neither of them should lose. Billy Starks versus Olympia, and Serena Deeb versus Yuka Sakazaki announced for this pure tournament.
Another one where neither one of them should lose.
Yeah, agreed. And I will say Serena Deeb does feel ripe for like this specific type of title. Like I don't want either of them to lose, but just stylistically, Serena and the pure titles finals feels right to me. I would do Serena versus Deonna. I think that's the way to go. There's certainly other people that can make a run for it, but I was just encouraged to see that we got this because it was conceptualized months ago and we've had no follow-up with it. And I think there's some really great women in this. Queen Aminata has been gaining so much momentum. Taya is great. You have some intrigue there with her and Deonna. Billy, of course, going for another title in ROH, serves the bigger story with Athena. She also had the TV title at one point, and Serena, just a pioneer of this type of wrestling for women. So I liked what I saw when the bracket was announced. What were kind of your initial reactions before we get into what we actually got from this tournament?
My initial reaction was, thank God. I thought that this would never happen. Like this whole tournament was announced in like April. It is August. It is the end of August. It's about to be September, and you're just letting us know the bracket for the tournament. That's what we're doing. I liked the matches that I saw on the in the first round. It seems though, you know, I understand what you're going for with Deonna Purrazzo, and I agree. Deonna Purrazzo feels ready made for the pure division, but I mean, let's be real here. Queen Aminata is making this final.
Okay.
She's making this final. Like you can't, Tony can't be going and gushing over her, being the person who stepped up to the plate when Jamie Hayter went down and did the Tekla feud, and then she's coming back to Ring of Honor, and she's not coming back for something big. Like I think that she's at least making it to the finals. I don't know if she wins it outright, but I do agree with you that there are kind of contenders that you could see a story for them winning this whole tournament, like a Deonna Purrazzo, because her style fits it so well, and she's been in all these pure rules matchups on ROH TV over the last couple of months. Queen Aminata, who's been so close, went to the finals of the TV title tournament, had a shot at the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship last year at Death Before Dishonor. Billy Starks, with her whole story, what they told very well on the pre-show, Ian and Caprice talking about how she's still trying to prove herself to Athena and might have to win another title to do that yet again. And then you got Serena Deeb, who's, like you said, is a pioneer of this. And even someone like a Yuka Sakazaki could be like a dark horse because she's just coming back and she could possibly pick up some momentum in the tournament. So yeah, I like the field. I like the people included. I just want to see how much focus it gets and if they're going to draw this out until Final Battle, which I'm kind of scared that they are.
To be honest, like the only reason I don't think it's going to be Queen Aminata is I hate to say this about an inaugural title, but like I think she's already surpassed what they're going to do with it because these titles just don't stick around ROH TV. I think what's interesting with Deonna is she's been doing so much work on the independents. The idea of bringing a pure title to independent shows, I think could be something that's really, really interesting. But Shame Monster, overall excited here, saying TMDK, that's me. I got booked to New Japan as much as Shane and Mikey have this year. SP3 doors down. Long time no see faves. Bandido, Wrestler of the Year. Paul Walter Hauser, Celebrity Wrestler of the Year. STP, Heart. Mina, Most Improved for 3 years now. Sammy and Roosh, Surprise Heart. GK back. Should I continue? Let's effing go. Well, I can't get my hopes up anymore, SP3. They've hurt me. They've hurt me too many times. I can't ride this wave for that long because they just break my heart with how much they then throw this momentum off a cliff. But these shows always show out. Paul Walter Hauser, we're going to talk about what he gave us tonight. That was like a special performance. Mina Shirakawa looking fantastic tonight. Athena bumping her ass off, man, in that main event. But let's finally dig into this because we did get those matches. I did kind of want to start at the back of this. Let's start with our men's title match because I was on air for this, so I'll be relying heavily on you for it. But I will say what was so cool was I'm doing the SmackDown show and everyone's like, "Oh, something special is happening between Bandido and Hechicero." Like something that we're going to be talking about for a bit. Like when match of the year contenders come up, this might not get nominated because it's not like properly situated on American television, but for real wrestling fans, they're going to be talking about how special this match is. There's no code of honor handshake in the beginning. We got Hechicero slapping Bandido's hand away. Our thumbnail has some birds given. I'm not going to do it because I'm not trying to get us demonetized, but a lot of early mat work in here from what I was kind of like skipping through. I love using the Indian Deathlock like that. That's just one of my, I love that move. We got a Romero special in this. We got, of course, some aerial stuff that I was seeing. I saw some Tilt-A-Whirl DDT stuff happening. We get a Bandido mask spot here. Hechicero ripping at that mask. From, again, I was watching this on like 1.5 speed. Saw some surfboards in this. Saw some really nice arm breakers. Everybody was just gushing over this match while it was going on. But I did see the finish here. The straightjacket O'Connor roll German suplex. My goodness. Bandito retaining here. This was 37
minutes.
To be clear, and I don't want to play across the pond because they're doing something entirely different. Outside of Sami Zayn's match, this is more wrestling than there was on all of SmackDown by like by minutes. Outside of the main event, which Sami Zayn won the title, that's an appropriate thing. But
hey, that was a good match. That was a
great match. I loved that match. Yeah. Sami Zayn babyface rallies, like my heart is the strings have been pulled. But this match alone was longer than the 3 matches combined that were not that main event on SmackDown. Everybody just rightfully gushing about this. I've said that one thing that the Forbidden Door mentality has led me to is promotions outside of my purview. I normally watch New Japan and American television. I wish I watched more. My only regret with Hechicero is I did not find him earlier in my life. Like I love watching his work. He's it's so inspired in general, and to be doing it in a lucha setting is all the more interesting to me. And to see him and Bandido going to war today, I had fun from what I saw, but I didn't get to see this from bell to bell like SV3 did. What did we get? You tell me what we got from this world title match.
What we got was another outstanding encounter from Bandido on an ROH pay-per-view. You know, we had in the past Mr. WrestleMania, which was Shawn Michaels. You know, there were some people that would even call Bret Hart Mr. SummerSlam. You know, during the NXT takeover days, there was Johnny Takeover, Johnny Gargano, the way he used to tear it up on their big shows. We need to now call it Bandido of Honor. Bandido of Honor once again did it again while Kate's doing a post show about SmackDown. Once again has a match of the year.
Yeah, the same thing happened with him and Takeshita. I was reviewing SmackDown while this was going on, and the same thing happened. The chat was like, "You got to see this." I was like, "I can't right now."
Well, I said I warned Kate on Wednesday when we did our preview for this show. I was like, when we do our post show, we're going to have a serious conversation. And that serious conversation needs to be had right now. Bandido is one of the best wrestlers in the world. It's where he is ranked at is the conversation that we gotta have, because he's a bona fide wrestler of the year kind of year that he's had, especially this summer. I think this is an all-time summer. It goes up
summer
there with
of Bandido is
it goes up there with like Okada in 2017, Omega in 2018, like Summer of Punk back in 2005, stuff like that. Like, this is his defining summer where he has just went out there and had so many extraordinary matches, whether it be with Mascarada Dorada in CMLL, Mystico in CMLL, tag team match with him and Hologram versus Mystico and Mascarada Dorada. Bandido is doing just extraordinary work at every level, whether it be in Mexico, whether it be on Dynamite, or whether it be on ROH pay-per-view. But this match here was just so well done. The styles clash. You got the lucha libre kind of submission style of Hechicero, and he's going after the knee, and then you got Bandido who's trying to fight from underneath, being very kind of defiant at times, like sticking the middle finger at Callis, sticking the middle finger at Hechicero. The great spot where he does the big dive off the top rope and he gets so much air. I love the fact that they had the commentary table kind of pushed back at the 2300 arena, because it gave them more room to do these great dives that what Bandido
Very
was
smart.
able to do in the matchup. Yeah, great. Just very, very smart. But like it went 37 minutes and it never felt like it. It just felt like we were watching a war of attrition. And the longer it went, it felt like this 2,300 crowd got more into it, got more vocal, got more behind Bandido. And Hechicero, this was one of his best performances. This is up there with the Danielson matchup on AEW Collision back in, what was this, 2024, the early last year. His matchups with Zack Sabre Jr. in the UK and Mexico. But this is his best performance in the United States. I thought that he was very poised with everything he did. He had a game plan going in. I love the story of the matchup with like the leg work, the limb work by Hechicero was brutal at times. He put his leg over the middle rope and like stomped down on it. That ridiculous helicopter spot where he had him up in the Alabama Slam position, and I'm thinking he's gonna hit him with the Alabama Slam on the apron, which is gonna hurt. But then he just does this ridiculous jump off spin thing where Bandido then lands sternum first on his head. On his head. He didn't land on the mat. I thought he was gonna land on the mat, and he landed on his head. I was like, oh my god. Head and back. Yeah, his sternum just lands on Hechicero. That was insane. So many crazy bumps, so many crazy exchanges, and then the finish, like you said, he looks like he's gonna go to 21 plex, but he blocks it. Then he does a straight jacket variation of the 21 plex for the bridge for the win. Bandido, man. I think that it's Bandido, Takeshita, Will Ospreay. Those are the guys. Those are the three guys in the question. Who's the best wrestler in the world right now? Those are the guys that are in there. You could throw in other people. There could be the Mystico. There could be the Gunthers. If we're making it more wide range of regardless of gender, there's Io Sky, there's Timeless Tony Storm. But I don't know if anyone's on the level. Mercedes Moné is another one. Saray is another one. But like Saya Kamatani is another one. But I don't know if there's three guys who are putting on the level of performance when the lights are on brightest of Bandido, Takeshita, and Ospreay. And I think that Bandido might be ahead of both of those guys because it feels like Bandido's having the summer that Takeshita had last year in the G1. Yep. How he had that fantastic summer that elevated him in the eyes of fans. That's what Bandido is doing this summer.
I agree. And I don't think this is a hot take for New Japan fans because I think you'll know where I'm coming from and other people. But if you don't watch New Japan, this is a bit jarring. I did not really like Takeshita's G1. Like I didn't feel like I felt like it was very good it was very back heavy. I should put it that way. Like the matches that were good were great and everything else just felt like because of the beast of the G1, like you can't go all out every match. And I feel like Takeshita's when he goes all out is the best in the world. So to me, and Will Ospreay is having this chunk of time where he's going to be out. And the thing with Will Ospreay is I think he's going to be in this conversation for the next 20 years. So there's just like this, almost this special opening in this conversation for Bandido just by circumstance where I feel like if Will Ospreay was healthy this entire time and Takeshita had the G1 he had last year, this year, I don't know if we're talking about Bandido in the same way. Like if the spotlight isn't just a little bit brighter on him. And it makes me really happy that that's the case because he's fantastic. SP3, I said to you on our prediction show that like, he's just never allowed to be injured ever again. Like that's just, it's not in the cards for him. No more injuries ever again for Bandido. And the other thing that we talked about on the prediction show was you had Hechicero maybe going over here. And I said, I kind of wanted that in my heart because I feel like the Don Callis family story could get really interesting from this. I didn't think they were going to do it because I think they like Bandido 2 belts. Like I think they're into that vibe. And I don't think the care in the weekly product is enough to translate that to the main roster. But this was one that actually had a seed of doubt in it, which to me, while watching what I was able to watch of it, made it a little more interesting because the chat was saying before too, like this felt 20 minutes and that that's always such an indicator when this feels like it's flying by. And part of the reason that it felt like it was flying by to me when I was watching it was the edge of my seat factor of like, I wouldn't be so blown away if Hechicero won because he's great and there's a bigger story there that could be in service to. How are you feeling about the actual outcome? I know you had kind of been pushing for the Hechicero side of this.
Yeah, I think that made my enjoyment of this matchup even more, is that there was that doubt that Hechicero could win the matchup. And I think that it added to kind of the drama and the emotion in the matchup, which is always a key thing between like just oh, that was a very good matchup to, oh my God, that was outstanding. That was fantastic. Like, I think the drama of the matchup and the seed of doubt, like you have to be extraordinarily good if I know the result of the matchup going in. You have to be extraordinarily good and actually make me doubt it to make that kind of be like a match of the year candidate. And I thought this match kind of did that. I thought that Hechicero at times, he had him in certain submissions where I'm like, okay, you probably can't get out of that, or you won't get out of that one, and then he would find a way to get out of it. So I thought that made the match even better. I'm okay with the result because I feel like this is the big push that Bandido needs and deserves if he does want to be in that Wrestler of the Year conversation. Like I'm a huge Athena fan, and there was a part of me that was rooting for Athena last Sunday at Forbidden Door. But there's also a part of me that wants Toni Storm to win Women's Wrestler of the Year, and she has to hold on to that title. That title is a little while longer, a little closer to the end of the year to do it. And I feel like with Bandido, him winning the AEW World Tag Team titles, him having this reign as Ring of Honor World Champion, and especially this match in particular, because I feel like you could say, oh man, he had a whole bunch of great matches in Mexico. And oh man, the only great match he had in the US singles match was against the other greatest wrestler in the world right now, Takeshita. Hechicero is fantastic at what he does, but I don't think he's in the conversation of like best wrestler of the world, or isn't mentioned as much as he should be in the conversation as best wrestler in the world. But that's what makes this performance by Bandido and him and the quality of this matchup even more stand out, because I don't think a lot of people were expecting this to be as good as it was.
This one was kind of sneaky. This one was kind of sneaky on people. And part of it is they gave it the time to develop, because I think we know what these two are capable of. So just giving it the breathing room, I give them a ton of credit. But we have some chats from you guys. Single Blue Note, the Panda, saying, thanks for the post-show review. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, it's very cool right now to be talking about a promotion that isn't one of the top two, that is paywalled and doesn't have the strongest weekly TV at 12:34 Eastern, and 2,200 of you are watching. Like, that means so much to us. It's really appreciated, because let me tell you, reviewing ROH is for the love of the game. That's why SP3 and I do it. Van Twinblade, circling back to our discussion about the Women's Pure Tournament, saying, Orion, check this for me, and this for me. We'll just say. I don't know if I missed a cool abbreviation there because I'm old, but AEW never put a bow on the Deeb Queen story. I think I know the finals of the ROH Women's Pure Title Tournament go Queen. Well, Don't I feel silly? Because, of course, that makes so much sense.
Reminder, you brought up one thing. Reminder, what was the first match announced for the tournament? It was Serena Deeb versus Queen Aminata. So them being on opposite sides of the brackets was the big teller for me immediately. I was like, that's probably gonna be the final. It's Queen versus Deeb.
I feel extremely silly, and I apologize. I'll put, you know what? I don't want SP3 to have to be on screen for something so embarrassing. Okay. This is quite obviously the finals of this tournament. I apologize for being so short-sighted in my analysis on a 2 post-show day. I'm a better host than that. I'm a better ROH sicko than that. And to the great people that watch the show, and the great people that have love for this great sport, and my incredible co-host SP3, I apologize. as there's a drive to left by Castellanos.
Got emotional. That was an emotional speech.
It deserved it. It deserved it. Tom Lavelli saying, "I will always love me some Uchi Cheryl." That is the code name for Hechicero around these parts. We appreciate that.
Uchi Cheryl is Reg's greatest contribution to what we do.
Incredible work from him. All right, Ben saying the era of alchemic reactions is delayed for now. There you go. Oh, look at SB3 with the choreography over there. Flippy do bullshit by SB3 on the post show there. Tekla costs Queen is a question that came in the chat. I'm gonna hope not for the sake of the tournament, but I will say I hope Tekla is the one that stole Queen Aminata's passport in story.
I did peep how commentary was making that. I was like, are they about to say that Tekla and the Triangle of Madness like either voodoo stole it or like went into a hotel and stole it? I was cracking up. I was like, they're totally gonna do this, aren't they?
They absolutely should. Have some fun with it, darn it. Have some fun with it. Well, have some fun with us as we work our way through this pay-per-view. Let's talk about our proper main event here with Athena and Mina Shirakawa. A nice Blue Meanie surprise, which was very fun. I love that Blue Meanie was dancing with Mina and Athena berated him and sent him off. That was a very, very, very fun thing. Mina playing into her personality strengths and Athena playing into her heel strengths of mocking Mina's dancing. The crowd was so alive for this. I was so impressed by how there they were for this whole match and that they didn't get gassed out on Bandido and Hechicero. Like they were there the entire time. Credit to the women for keeping their attention. Credit to the crowd for being there in like hour 6 or whatever this was for every moment of this, because they love them some Athena and some Mina, man. But this I did get to see more of because most of this took place after my post show. I saw Mina with her rope walk elbow drops. I saw Athena cutting her off with some arm hands, nice work, like some scissor locks in this. I thought were great. The rally from Mina with the sling blades and the running knees. I loved the dragon screw into the figure 4. I thought that was so clever. And of course, you have Billy Starks trying to interfere, but getting wiped out by Athena's miscue in this. I thought that was pretty clutch. And Mina with the 29999 with the glamorous driver, I felt like was very good. But we get an O face for the definitive win. I loved this entire closing stretch. The discus forearms. I love a cross arm breaker and a straight jacket power bomb. You give me those, I'm a happy gal. In Succession, I'm an even happier gal. This went 25 minutes. And the fact that these two matches back to back went this long and everybody was in for it, I love that. I love that we got a 1-2 punch of great wrestling. It didn't feel like, well, the men should have made it. It was like, nah, both of these ruled. You could put either one in either spot and they would have been great. Athena making her way to 1,000 days as champion. I felt like they closed so strong with these. Both are show stealers. I said at the beginning of the show, they're both barn burners. Barns have been burned. Okay. There are farm animals running loose right now because at night they got nowhere to sleep because arson has taken place. Hangman Page is running around these farms, burning down barns. It's what I've learned. Great crowd the whole night. Loved both of these matches. What do you think of our women's match here? I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, splendid job by both women here. They had a lot to live up to after the match. One of my friends who went there did say that there was some people that left after the world title matchup, probably didn't know that there was another matchup after that. But you wouldn't have known it if you're just watching at home, because that crowd went crazy for everything these two ladies did in this matchup. And really like with the key to Ring of Honor pay-per-views being so good as they've been, these two pay-per-views this year, was Bandito winning the Ring of Honor of World title, because now you could have these ridiculous 1-2 punches of matches that, you know, we haven't had when Chris Jericho was the world champion.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Athena, you could have put Hechicero and Bandido in the main event, but Athena being here, the match being about the, you know, her getting to 1,000 days, I think that was like my main reason why I thought that Hechicero and Bandido should have main evented, because I thought there was more doubt in that finish than this one. But the two ladies work in the matchup. They worked it like it was a main event. I thought Mina Shirakawa was so good in this matchup. The way that she has so much charisma, and you would think, oh, she's just kind of like an entertainer type of wrestler. But then when you see her in the ring, she's so technically proficient. She's one of the best female technical wrestlers that I've ever seen. The transitions into the different figure four leg locks and different submissions that she does, the reversals and counters that she does in the ring, and they look so good when she does it. And the fact that she was, like, many years ago just an idol, and now she's one of the best technical workers that I see in wrestling today, it tells you how hard she's worked over the last couple of years. But Athena, man, she went out there and put on a Ric Flair 1989, Dolph Ziggler 2012 heel performance of, I'm going to bump and make everything my opponent does look like a death nail. The bumps, the selling was absolutely outstanding from Athena in this matchup. And she had to remind fools, because people were, I said to Kate the other day, I was like, people were sleeping on how good her matchup with Timeless Tony Storm was. But she went out here, she had much more time on this show, and she's like, I'm going to show y'all. Y'all should have been praising me more for that performance, but y'all definitely going to praise me for this performance. She is still one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. We just don't get to see it enough, but we got to see it, you know, from her work on AEW TV as of late and what she did here tonight. Athena is putting herself right back into that conversation where she's been for the last 2-3 years now, since she's come over to AEW and Ring of Honor. This was another great performance. I like the simplicity of the story. Like I was telling you the other day when we were talking about Forbidden Door, one of my favorite matches on that card was Okada versus Swerve, because of the simple story was Swerve came in with an injured knee. Okada attacked the injured knee, eventually attacked the neck. He worked over the neck. Eventually, at the end, Swerve misses a move, tweaks the knee, he kicks the knee, hits him with the Rainmaker that affected the neck. So both things that the match was about paid off in the end of it. I thought that this matchup was very well done, in that the whole story of the matchup was Athena going after the broken hand that we knew about going in, and we knew that the broken hand happened on the O-face. So that was the two things to look out for, was the work on the hand and for her to hit the O-face. And that's how it paid off in the end. She worked over the hand for most of the matchup. Mina turned it back on her by going after the leg and working over the different figure four leg locks, which had me at times believing that she was going to give up, because she stayed in it for a while. Very well done with the selling of that move. And then in the end, it was the O-face that got her the win, because that was the move that we were told to pay attention to at the beginning of the matchup. So I like simple storytelling, because the little details that work out in the end that got you to the payoff, it all makes sense. And this is how that match worked.
I love when I see wrestlers work with other wrestlers, and then it feels like they take something from their arsenal or from the way they work with them. And I feel like Athena's been doing some work with Mercedes, and not to give Mercedes credit for Athena's great work, but the way she was bumping today, I was like, one of my favorite things about Mercedes is just the way that she sells. And I was like, I feel like Athena kind of took some of that with her in the same way, like, I can't remember. I think it was an episode of Collision, but you know, I'm a ZSJ sicko. And he pulled an armbar through the ropes, which always looks so nasty. And then I saw Daniel Garcia do that. It was either the same taping or matches later. And I was like, I love when I see that in wrestling. Like, hey, that worked for that guy. I'm going to go do that. And then in like the non-kayfabe sense, I love it when I see things like this. Cause I think I've seen Mercedes pick some things up from Athena too, in the way that she's been transitioning a little bit between sequences and stuff. You can kind of see the flavors coming to life of the experiences of working with each other. And today, I mean, Athena's always, it's never like she's been a sandbagger or a no seller, but today the selling she did for Mina, I thought was like kind of a next level Athena performance in that way.
Yeah, you're really right that Athena does a great job of like taking little things from the people that she works with. Because what I noticed was more than even like the selling was the way she was kind of like taunting during the matchup and interacting with the crowd. It felt like it was kind of like an extension of the Toni Storm matchup from Forbidden Door, where she was doing that a lot. And maybe that's something that she took from working with Toni, who's really good at interacting with the crowd and using different poses and taunts to get big reactions and get people more engaged in her work. And I do love the former part of what you were talking about is in the kayfabe sense, when someone learns something or tries to use a move from a different person. My favorite moment of that is definitely Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 when he used the crossroads on Cody and then Cody kicked out. That move never works.
I got to do that 3 more times if I want that to be effective. So good. So good. I like what you said there too, because like it feels like Athena, that's a part of who she is now. The crowd taunting, being kicked up a notch. It's like not only a real life pull away, but like now that's a part of her character because she ain't done with Toni and she ain't done with this whole thing, right? Like it's something that is a part of who she is as a character now. Like I love seeing that. And to your point about Mina, like her charisma now being backed by such great work, like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I'm a Stardom loyalist at all, but like in what I did see, the rapid improvement of this woman in the ring is like unbelievable. And there are certain people where the translation to American television is just a very beneficial thing, like right wrestler, right environment. And I feel like Athena, or excuse me, Mina's really, really unlocked that. Really unlocked that.
Mina in a lot of ways is like a Joshi modern version of Trish Stratus, where like when I first started watching like Stardom, I got the story of Mina Shirakawa, and she was instantly my favorite person in Stardom because, you know, she started as like an idol who came in training to wrestle. She wasn't very good. She got a lot of criticism about it. She started to improve and then had that match with Saya Kamitani where she hit her with the Phoenix Splash and basically shattered her face. She has this all-time promo that kind of got people more into her and her character and her journey to come back. And then she came back, eventually wins the Wonder of Stardom championship, shows how much she's grown as a performer. And just like, yeah, from where she was when I first started watching Stardom to where she is today, it's really the modern Joshi version of Trish Stratus, from where Trish Stratus was at the beginning of 2000 to like the summer of 2001. That vast improvement, that's the best comparison that I got.
I love that comp. I am noting the time signature so that I can make that into a short. That's how much I love that comp. And while I'm doing that, I'll tell you what else we're going to do. We're going to read this chat by Meet Normus. My desk is a mess. How bad is that? Who says, I only saw the last 2 matches, both stupendous. I'm glad STP won the 6-man. We're going to talk about that in a second. And we got Mina dancing with the blue meanie. Meat forever, sometimes veggies. Well, you know what? I appreciate that very much as a vegan. And I also appreciate you being in the SmackDown chat and this chat, Meet Normus. Thank you so much. I'm just saying, he doesn't have to do it every time, and I'm not going to put him on the spot, but SP3 knows the dance. That's all I'm going to say. So we'll move on. If you stick around till the end, maybe you'll see it again. But
she was doing the Dougie, apparently. I saw a video of Mina doing the Dougie. She had the Dougie. She had the Dougie. She had the Dougie. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that with Mina one day. Do her dance and then the Dougie.
I'm just gonna say it, and I'm not trying to shoot on the guy. Blue Meanie doesn't have anything on SP3 stance. I've seen it like while he's been in the UK reviewing, like 4 a.m, SP3's busting out this day. You guys don't even know what this man is capable of the way I do. Okay, you don't know. You don't even know the SP3 that I know.
You don't even know.
You don't even know. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the well-earned victory of our ROH 6-man champions. We have been clamoring for possibly years at this point, SP3. Why is Shane Taylor Promotions not entirely strapped up with gold? My goodness. It's finally happened. Minus Trish Adora, who I'm looking at you. Trish Adora deserves some gold too. But Von Erich and Sammy Guevara versus STP, which I came on here singing SP3's name too. Shane Taylor Promotions are your new champions. The fire in the hole finisher here. Long heat in this. The crowd kind of dipped in this and then came back up a lot. Like the energy got really, really wild at parts of this, but crowd was behind STP, to be quite frank. Like this was not the way that was supposed to go, but Ross Von Erich getting some heat. Marshall cleaning house. Sammy got his Sammy spots in, but there were some Sammy suck spots. Philly loves their heels. Philly loves their heels. And I feel like going into this, I can't say for sure because Von Erichs never get to wrestle, but it felt like the roles got reversed in this. I think people are overwhelmingly, genuinely excited for Shane Taylor Promotions. One of them. And I think there are people that are like, I don't even know what this is. Like, I don't even know what Sammy Guevara and the Von Erichs are. Philly is not going to be like, well, I love you because you're from Texas. They're going to require more than that. And honestly, I think people just like Sammy better as a heel. And we're going to talk about where that goes in a little bit. But I would have been one of the ones cheering along for Shane Taylor Promotions because even though I respect the art form, I usually play along with my heels even when I love them. I would not be able to contain myself with excitement because I love Shane Taylor Promotions. I love the man at the helm and Shane Taylor. The infantry have been very good for a very long time at this point. Beyond deserved for these three. We're going to talk about Lee Moriarty and the incredible work that he does in a minute. Let's make this a unit. Let's keep momentum going out of this pay-per-view for Shane Taylor Promotions because all of these guys heckin' rule. Very excited about the outcome here. Really good match too, but to me, the booking was like a moment where it felt like a personal achievement to me because I've been wanting this for so long. What you got for me, SP3? How you feeling about this one?
This feels like something that we manifest. It just took like a year and a half for it to actually come through. So like, yeah. Hey, I'm so happy for Shane Taylor's Promotions. They've been cornerstones, been stalwarts of Ring of Honor since before Tony Khan bought the promotion. And you know, the infantry though, these are guys that have worked and started from the bottom, made their way up, made themselves into a tag team that would get attention, that would get consistent bookings, made themselves into into the Shane Taylor Promotions where they have even grown even more in their confidence, in their ability to kind of put their characters out there and put their become prominent parts of Ring of Honor. And we've been asking for them to win the tag team titles, been asking them to win Shane Taylor to win the TV title or the world title, been asking for all this type of gold. I'm just glad something happened positive. The match itself, it was solid. It was fine. It was more about the crowd reaction more than anything because, man, I felt like a proud papa. Watching that Philadelphia crowd, that 2,300 arena crowd, booing the Sons of Texas the hell up out the building. This has been the biggest waste of time I've ever had in my life. The fact that Tony Khan had no intention on figuring out an end to the Sons of Texas era of Ring of Honor. That it took Dustin being like, hey, Tony, I need to get double knee replacement surgery. Dude, you been knew his knees weren't bad. He's 56. He's been wrestling since he was like 20. What's wrong with you? Why didn't you have a plan that wasn't, oh, I have to get surgery, so let me relinquish the titles? How dumb is this? Like, were we serious? This was your big plan? Thank God he had double knee replacement surgery so we could move the hell on from Sons of Texas. I don't want to see anything from Texas. I'm not even watching the King of the Hill reboot because I don't want to see anything from Texas. I'm not watching Stone Cold Steve Austin highlights. I'm not watching Shawn Michaels talk about NXT is the best weekly show. Who says this type of thing? They must be doing drugs in Texas. I don't want to see Texas.
It was already great, but it really picked up around I'm not watching the King of the Hill reboot. I will let you know that FightfulSelect.com did report at the time that this was not the end of the story between the Sons of Texas and the infantry. So I think we were maybe headed toward this anyway. But I am here for that rant. Orion Ben saying Sammy Guevara will be LFI Stokely. The promos. We're going to talk about that momentarily. I think there's good and bad in it. We're going to see which one it ends up as. SP3 does absolutely rule. SP3 heard the crowd booing Texas and said, "This speaks to my soul." So
It did.
what
It did.
my favorite part of all of this, because I was thinking of you while this was on, like both sides of this were so quote unquote SP3 coded, and that SP3 hates the Sons of Texas more than like it most things, and he likes Shane Taylor Promotions quite a bit. So I was like, there's nobody that's more reversed on the heel and face side of this, not because of kayfabe, just because of real life circumstances. Norma says my phone almost vibrated off the table, which I am the head of. Matthew Hook says, as a Texan, that group sucks. Look, it's not even just like that. It was, I mean, they had their legendary performance in Japan, as you know, on the pre-show. But
yes, on the pre-show, because there's people out there that's like, they defended the titles in the Tokyo Dome. It must be important now.
Against whom? SP3 as well. Against whom?
House of Torture.
Who nobody.
The only other group I hate more than Sons of Texas, the House of Torture.
I can say this for the Sons of Texas: they didn't ruin 3/4 of the G1, so good on them. But this was beyond the right call in so many different ways. Maybe the Von Erichs will get booked now that they don't have titles, but it's been this when you talk about. I'm going to say this as dramatically as possible because it's wrestling. But you talk about miscarriages of justice. The multi-man pictures in ROH have suffered the most. Like it was the titles were put on this team because of Texas, and they knew that they were going to be defended a year later in Texas. Like there's been nothing really along the way, except for what was honestly a great program with the Righteous. But where did that get the Righteous? Asking for their release. So, my goodness, let's keep working through this. But that was a moment that it genuinely felt like we did it. It felt like a personal victory.
Vindication. This is what the infantry deserves after that great performance they had in the Juneteenth matchup of Shane Taylor versus Swerve Strickland, where they were betting money and drinking Hennessy with Prince Nana. This is what all their hard work was meant for. ROH World 6-Man Tag Team titles. I'm happy for Shane Taylor Promotions. They've had such a good act for such a long time. They've deserved gold like a year ago. Better late than never.
I'm very excited about this too. It's hard to be so happy because I'm just so pessimistic on the weekly TV, but like I can't think of anybody who deserves something like this more. Like they give everything, every performance. And some of those ROH tapings are really tough as a performer because the crowds are gassed or whatever. Yeah. Like but taping before and after a show disjointed is not like an ideal situation for a wrestler. Everyone in Shane Taylor Promotions always gives every cell of their body to this, like every single time. So I'm just so thrilled. And I will remind you that Shawn Dean undefeated against MJF. It's just something I have to mention. It's worth noting. Shawn Dean should take MJF's contract and cash in and beat Hangman Page.
Now that they're 6-man tag team champions, I could make this public. Tony Khan, give them Nelly's EI for Wrestle Dream in St. Louis. That's my request. Give them Nelly's EI and let them defend the titles on 0 Hour.
Beautiful. Beautiful. A tear to my eye. I love this. Let's keep the Sammy Guevara talk moving as we get the Outrunners versus Sammy and a mystery partner who ends up being Roosh, which I was like, that is an interesting little duo because Roosh feels like a murderer and Sammy Guevara feels like a maniac. So we have this surprise reveal with Roosh and Sammy. They're facing the Outrunners, who have the crowd on their side this whole time. Double Bulldogs, Total Recall. I've really enjoyed the step up in work that the Outrunners have been doing of late in general, where it felt like it was fun and then it got kind of one note. And now it feels like all the stuff with FTR brought this other side out of them. This kind of went back to the hits a little bit, but I didn't mind it as much because we've been getting something so much bigger. And with Roosh in there, it's like the Outrunners versus this guy is just an insane combination of things. You get Roosh hitting the horns, Sammy hitting the Swanson for the victory in this. Your new champions, same as the old, but with a different flavor here. You get Sammy Guevara and Roosh. And post-match, Dralistico comes out and joins Sammy and Roosh, and they attack the Von Erichs, realigning LFI, which means in 6 months from now, Sammy Guevara is going to be in the frat house, if memory serves me correctly. Because that's what happened to Preston Vance. So, what did you think of all of the decisions that went into this and the match? How did you feel about Roosh being the mystery partner? How are you feeling about this alignment? And of course, what we got out of this match as well.
Well, when I found out that the matchup was Sammy Guevara and a mystery partner versus the Outrunners, I kind of assumed that they would use this as a vehicle to turn Sammy Guevara heel. Because why is it the Outrunners as the opponent if it's not going to be Sammy with a heel? If it's Sammy with another babyface, that doesn't make too much sense why it's the Outrunners as the opponent. So I kind of saw this coming. I didn't know who it was going to be. So I was pleasantly surprised to see Roosh. But I knew immediately when you see Sammy with the smirk on his face, you see his mannerisms during the matchup. He's flipping off the Outrunners and he's acting more heelish. And he just looks so much more at home. So much more at home. Sammy Guevara is a guy who does cool moves. Yes, but that doesn't make him a babyface. No. The reason why it doesn't make him a babyface because he seems so at home being a little douche. That's what he feels. He feels so comfortable being a little douche. So you can do cool moves, but if you feel comfortable being a little douche, you're a heel. You're not a babyface, regardless of how many cool moves that you do. And at this point, we should talk about Sammy Guevara trying to compete with Sonata for the amount of groups that he's gonna join.
Wardlow, Sammy Guevara, and Sonata. They are surfing through different stables at this point.
Joined all the groups. He's been in the Inner Circle, the Jericho Appreciation Society. There was the Sons of Texas, and now we got LFI. Wardlow's been in the Inner Circle, the Pinnacle, the Undisputed Kingdom, and now the Don Callis family. But Sonata's got them all beat because he's been in LIJ, Just Four Guys, Bullet Club War Dogs, and now the House of Torture. So
I always forget he was Bullet Club War Dogs because it feels so like
because it was like a cup of coffee and the bullet. He was there for less than 6 months,
and it just felt wrong. Like that was weird.
It never felt right. But nah, this is the right move for Sammy. He needs to be a heel. I think that him working with Roosh and Dralistico will get them more kind of a prominent role either on Ring of Honor or AEW television. I can eventually see in this form of LFI going to, AEW TV and getting a role over there where they could play. Because that's really what this is all about with Ring of Honor. I think that they've kind of established this as their role of like, if something works here, we're going to try it out over here. So I think that's probably the route that this LFI version is going to go. But it's a cool role for Sammy to be in, and it seems like something that could wind up on the main AEW programming, which Sons of Texas never was
that. I think it's very generous that you think that ROH has established itself as anything. So touche.
Touche.
We have not seen things from ROH translate to the main roster. We've seen people get used.
We have Bandido.
That is the highest form of cheating.
Bandido, Athena,
Ted Russo saying, bring Maki Ito into ROH, TK, add some craziness. I have a hot take. Maki Ito is just not from me. I get the appeal. I feel like the Family Guy meme when he's talking about The Godfather, and he's like, it insists
upon itself. Maki Ito insists upon herself.
Did not care for The Godfather.
With her singing and her MDK and
her cursing. It's a little no, I'm just kidding. It's honestly more like in-ring for me. But yeah. I certainly understand the appeal of a Maki Ito. She's so fun. She's so different than anything that's kind of coming out of that part of the world. But I don't feel like they brought Suri Kondo over, right? Like that's more my vibe of what I'm looking for. But well, you didn't see the ending. It insists upon itself.
Insists upon itself.
Let's keep it rocking and rolling. Let's get to some women's wrestling. Let's talk about this pure tournament because we get Queen Aminata and Taya Valkyrie, who tweeted that she hates rules anyway, which I thought was extremely funny. But Queen Aminata, that headbutt, bro, my God, is nuts. And post-match, Diana comes to confront her in the ring, and Queen Aminata almost kisses her, and Diana is smirking heavily at this. I didn't get to see a ton of this, but Queen Aminata rules, and I quite enjoy Taya Valkyrie a lot. I think she's great, and I feel like she's been so much more comfortable seeming in the ring ever since her conditioning improved so drastically. So very excited to see that. And we got this tournament kicked off tonight. What'd you think of what we got here?
Yeah, I thought they told a nice little story about Taya not really being used to the pure rules. So she spent 2 of her rope breaks early on just like a hammerlock or something, which came back to haunt her in the end, where she was trying to get into the ropes on one of his submission. She was trying to grab the ropes, and the referee's like, "You don't got no more rope breaks," and then she just walked into the headbutt. So yeah, that headbutt, especially the sell by Taya, that was one of her best sells that she's done in a while. So yeah, one of her better matches. Pretty decent work by both women here. A good start to the pure rules, women's pure championship tournament. I like Diana coming out, getting a spotlight here. Honestly, with the way that Diana came out here, I was like, you should have put Diana on the other side of the bracket. So there would be a little bit more doubt if you had Diana and Serena on the same side of the bracket, opposite of Queen Aminata. Like, you're literally telling us what the 2 more matches for Queen Aminata are by showing us the graphic and then doing this angle. You're saying Diana's next, and then you look at the bracket and you're like, Serena Deeb's the final. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. So,
I also just wish this tournament, they announced it in April, you said. I was hoping it'd maybe run a little bit deeper than 2 rounds. Like it would be something with a little bit more meat on the bone, but I like the people that they chose to use. I just wish it had another round to go. So I'm with you there. Guys. Keep those chats coming. You've been so good to us tonight. We are going to take a little ad break because you guys are staying up with us all night, and it's appreciated. But if not all of you is staying up all night,
my friends, you know we always care about your performance at Fightful, and we want to keep that performance at a main event level. And you can with Blue Chew and the code Fightful. The same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a much more affordable option. Blue Chew is ready whenever you are or whenever you're not. Helps give you that extra motivation. That way you can make sure that your performance is at a championship level. You go online to BlueChew.com, and when approved by our online physicians, you get that confidence, you get that performance, and you get it shipped straight to your door. No awkward conversations with the doctor, no waiting in line at the pharmacy, all of that stuff. You use that code FIGHTFUL, get your first shipment free. That's how confident that they are that they're going to make you confident. What do you have to lose? BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
Okay, maybe not up all night, but BlueChew.com and FIGHTFUL.
No.
Like that's you're calling a doctor territory, but we're not. We're an hour and 10 in, so let's keep chatting about this pay-per-view. We will remind you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. We got a lot more of you watching now. Almost 3,000 of you guys tuned in across platforms. We appreciate it. So head over to FightfulSelect.com. You're going to have me and Alex Pulowski behind the paywall talking some WWE Clash Imperi this weekend. Shawn will be here on the main. But you get all the scoops you could ever want and more. We had news about Orange Cassidy and his return days ago, despite what maybe some aggregators thought. Bodyslam.com or Bodyslam.net, reported it. And we had a bunch of extra details back there for you. That is not a fault of the people that reported it, by the way. There was some aggregation that was a little not so well sourced, but bodyslam.net with the original report and a bunch of details from FightfulSelect.com with additional context about Orange Cassidy. Also information about Swerve and Will Ospreay's injuries back there as well. So as one fan favorite babyface returns, we're losing a couple there, but Shawn's Q&A and his Select Answers feature, we got so much to talk about going on over there. Liv Morgan questions were being asked over there. Austin Theory questions were being asked over there. We've got early interview access with Powerhouse Hobbs and Shawn. Information on the AEW pay-per-view and the HBO Max situation, which I didn't even know was up there. That's how busy of a day it's been on FightfulSelect.com, as well as features like Ask Grapsody every 2 weeks. So subscribe today. It's also Shawn's birthday, so just subscribe. That's all he wants. It's $5.99 a month for his birthday. That's all. Let's keep rocking and rolling through this. And let's talk a little pre-show. Let's talk some 0 hour. We had Big Tom. We had Ishii and Hologram beating the Premier Athletes.
Oh, no, that was on the main card. It should have been on the 0 hour.
It was on the main card. I'm an idiot. Yes. There you go.
Yes, it was. I totally understand if you just read that and didn't specify your notes.
Sounded right.
Card. Oh yeah, it sounded right. That was my main complaint. I was like, this is a solid matchup here, but this should not be on the main card. When they said the show start, that was the opener. They started the show with that.
That's why I thought it was the pre-show, because what are we doing? Also, what happened to Josh Woods, man? He's like one of my favorite wrestlers in the world. Why does he not get used? But SP3, athletes suck. Your thoughts?
Athletes rule. That's what.
Oh, a hot take.
Hot take. I got a difference of opinion. Athletes rule. I like the Premier Athletes. They just should not be on the main card until they actually start winning matches, because there is no drama in any Premier Athletes matchup. You know they're going to lose, and they're going to lose quite often. So I don't necessarily need them on my main card. But solid work from everybody involved, especially when they're going against Hologram, which I'm like, I see Hologram. He's going to win. I see the athletes. They're going to lose. Oh, look at that. They're on the opposite side of the ring from each other. I think I know the result. So.
I am wondering why you didn't just have the 6-man on first. You had a title change, like a Shane Taylor title change would have been great. Or if you're announcing this tournament, you could have kicked it off with the women's pure title quarterfinal. Like, very odd.
Yeah, so many different options to start off this show and have it be this.
Well, one thing it could have been was this fantastic pure championship match, because this moved differently, I feel like, than a lot of pure title matches go. This was technical as hell, but I loved that both guys burned their rope breaks in chain wrestling and countering. Like, this was so different, I feel like, than a lot of what we get, because it wasn't, not every rope break was like a I have no choice kind of thing. Like this had a really, really cool and vibrant story into this. I love Lee just targeting those arms and fingers. You know me. You know what I like. And then we have the firing back with the chops and backbreakers. If you notice, I'm not even trying to pronounce the name because I know it doesn't look like it does. And I think it's Chichua. Did I say it right?
Xelhua.
Xelhua. I am so embarrassing. Right. I apologize, but we get that flying stretch for the win. I like using the flying octopus stretch here too. Like this felt like a different match. So the fact that it had a different ending, I thought was really cool because it wasn't the Border City stretch. It was this felt like it was an opportunistic win in a different type of pure match than I feel like we get. And this whole thing was smooth as hell in my estimation. SP3, what'd you think?
Oh, this was a clinic. This was a technical wrestling clinic. Lee Moriarty is just so good at these pure rules matchups because it is like a chess match. You're watching a chess match. You're watching a guy who you know his game plan going in, but you could do nothing to stop it. It's like a pitcher who has like the splitter as that's his go-to pitch, but you have no way to actually hit the ball. That's what Lee Moriarty is in these pure rules matchups, where his whole game plan is I'm gonna make you run out of rope breaks and then I'm probably gonna submit you in the ropes. That's been the result of like pretty much all of his title defenses so far. That's how he beat Blue Panther last month at Supercard of Honor. That's how he beat Xelhua here, is that he made Xelhua run out of rope breaks. I like the fact that Xelhua was the one that made him run out of rope breaks first. And like you said, I like the little kind of just arm submissions and wrist control and how both men were trying to make the other go to the ropes and break the ropes for something that was not important, that was not a desperation at times. It was very much, okay, you're doing this, well, I have this to come at you. Well, you're coming at me with that, I got this for you. Is very much give and take throughout the matchup. There was very much that symmetry to the story that made it very, very enjoyable to watch. I do love the kind of the old school look and the old school feel of his in-ring work of Xelhua. Xelhua basically looks like he was like picked his body was taken for 2025, but then he got the soul of like El Santo and Mil Mascaras because his look is just so much out of like the old time luchadors in a lot of ways.
Cool as hell mask. Like
the mask is so cool.
I love it.
Cool. But yeah, this was totally different from everything else on the matchup, everything else on the pay-per-view. I think that this is probably like right behind the final two matches as like the best match on the show.
Not even close for me, but I'm a Tekker sick. Look, it's been a very lucha heavy summer, and I love some luchadors, but everybody knows where my heart is. And this week, Kate gets in her feels. She gets a video with Johnny Saint in it. Okay, I'm a happy camper. I got my Nigel and ZSJ. I got this matchup, but sincerely, like,
did you watch ZSJ and Zosiah from the Ref Pro show?
It is on the list because it wasn't suggested to me. It was declared. It was demanded of me that I watch it. So that is up next for sure for me. But Lee's work, just like he's such a great proponent of this style in a new age. Like there's something really special about being, quite frankly, this cool as a technical wrestler, and also being so there's a smoothness with the way he works that isn't always there in technical wrestling. That like there's just something really fluid about the way that Lee's transitions happen that I feel like he's doing on such an elite level. No pun intended. Like, just pretty brilliant stuff with Lee Moriarty. But from that to a fight without honor where Paul Walter Hauser, apologies from those who did not know your game, but you and I were talking about this, and I said I was actually kind of looking forward to this because I thought it was going to surprise a lot of people. I didn't think it was going to go this far in the way that it did. But I was saying that, like, one thing that's really underrated about QT Marshall is that he accomplishes in every match the very basic thing from a heel of getting massively boos and a ton of heat from a live crowd. That is something that is like, I don't want to say it's a lost art because it happens, but like it's kind of the whole fucking point. I feel like that part of it has maybe disappeared from wrestling a little bit more than it should. I guess like watching, I feel like so many heels get cheered anymore, mostly on the WWE side, but like QT Marshall is just getting booed from bell to bell, which is a beautiful thing in this match, especially going up against Paul Walter Hauser and how personal all this got. But I was stunned by the ending here with QT winning. Diamond Cutter through the table for the win. This did go a little long, but it was violent as hell. And I feel like Paul Walter Hauser, he was getting like, you're a wrestler, you're one of us kind of vibes from this. And I feel like that's actually a really special thing when you're a guy who didn't start as a wrestler, right? Like to earn that kind of respect from one of the more hardcore crowds in wrestling, like people that expect work rate. I think they really respected his performance tonight. This was really, really violent. It was a lot of fun. What did you think that I wasn't expecting it to go to the extremes that it did, but we were in the ECW arena. What should I have expected realistically? What'd you think?
This is one of my favorite things about wrestling is the guy that loses but really won in the end, and that was Paul Walter Hauser in this matchup here, because he really earned his stripes as a pro wrestler. He went out there, he was taking bumps and taking hits with the weapons that I didn't think that he would take. Once he comes out with like a t-shirt on, I was like, nah, he's not going to the swimming pool. It's not just about his in-ring shape. I think it's more that he's probably going to take some glass or some tack. So when I saw the glass and the tacks, I was not that surprised, but both men put their bodies on the line here. Like you said, QT's ability to get as much heat as humanly possible, but also at the same time, not only does he get heat on himself, which some heels are good at, but some other heels that are good at that are not always good at getting the fans to cheer their opponent. And that's what QT did the best during this matchup. Anytime Paul Walter Hauser was taking punishment, he made the fans want to rally behind him, and they did. And so when he makes his comeback and starts using all these weapons and he drops QT onto the glass, they're starting to believe. They believe that Paul Walter Hauser can win. He started getting that chant even before the end of the matchup. I know probably their goal of the matchup was by the end of the matchup, we want Paul to get the chant of "You're a wrestler." They started cheering this like 10 minutes before the match ended. They're like, "You're a wrestler, you're a wrestler, you're a wrestler." And yeah, like that final spot was so awesome. Just him putting the glass all over the table. And once they did that, I was like, I don't know if QT is going to take this bump. I was like, the way this match was going, I was like, I could see QT winning. So when he hits the avalanche diamond cutter, I was like, oh, you ain't kicking out of that. You can't kick out of that. That's his finisher. So 1, 2, 3. And it made sense because QT finally gets a big win on a ROH pay-per-view. He's not going to just be viewed as a guy, even though pretty much should be viewed as a guy who just gets ROH pay-per-view appearances to lose, but that's what he's mostly been doing. But here he gets a win over Paul Walter Hauser. Paul Walter Hauser gained something because he earned the respect of the crowd and QT with his performance. This was one of my favorite celebrity matches in a very long time. Probably my favorite celebrity match since Bad Bunny at Backlash 2023. Like, this was just an absolute blast to watch. It was bloody. It was brutal. It lived up to the stipulation. A+ all around to everyone involved.
I would say the test of a great celebrity match is, are there parts of it where I am into the story and not thinking about how someone's a celebrity, unless that is the story. Yeah. But like Bad Bunny, there were so many things where Logan Paul, I haven't been into a story that he's told, even though his athleticism is undeniable. Bad Bunny, there was so much storytelling. There was so much storytelling. And I love seeing artists that are artists in other ways lean into the art form that pro wrestling is in a way that I forget the veil of being a celebrity being a thing that like quote unquote gets you here. I have respect for anybody who steps into it, but that to me is like the litmus test for sure. Yeah. Last call for chats because we only have one thing to talk about, and it's a great match, but not like the juiciest thing on the show. We talked a lot about the juice already. So last call for chats. Genesis saying ROH pay-per-views always deliver. They really do. They really, really, really do. Also, dream scenario is Kate, SP3, and Reg ROH TV reviews. They would have to get quite a TV deal, and you guys would have to send a lot of chats for us to make that a 3-host show because that would be very expensive. But I'll tell you what, we could probably do that for a pay-per-view situation. I'm assuming the end of the year might be at Hammerstein and one of us might be there, but that's certainly something we could work out in the future. I miss working with Reg. He's fantastic. He's fantastic.
He's awesome. Miss Reg.
We'll come back to that. We'll close out with that actually, but Sammy not caring about Fletcher makes sense now. Yeah, there was like a nice kind of note with that because here's the thing. It's like the Callis family, they're into big boys. Sammy's not a big boy. So they like, no. I think they filled their big boy quota, but Don Callis wouldn't be interested in a Sammy Guevara. He's like, I got Edge Cero, I got Wardlow, I got Lance Archer, I got Okada's sneaky big, I got Takeshita. He's like, I'm not looking for little guys.
Why would Callis go back to one of his exes? Remember, Sammy was in the Callis family.
It's true.
And he left
for
to
10 minutes.
turn babyface and join Chris Jericho.
Back to the Jericho lapdog syndrome. That did not work at all.
No, it did not.
Enormous saying, I'm having a late night deviled eggs. Ooh, good thing I'm sleeping alone tonight. Shall we crank, darlings? Happy birthday, SRS. You don't look a day over 50. Cheers, pal. I will pass that along to him. Well, yes, we shall always crank. But thank you for the chat, as always, Meech Enormous. Let's crank into this last match, and then we'll close out with that chat because it's a good question. We do have the Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett returning to face. I love that they call themselves this, the Swirl, Blake Christian and Lee Johnson.
It's a great name.
It's so great. It's so great. The Kingdom working heel on this. A lot of isolating of Johnson, which was great, but Blake just kind of flying around to fire up the crowd was fun. I've gotten so used to Blake Christian working properly heel that when Taven and Bennett came in, I was like, oh, this is different. This is different. But we get that double team at driver into the stomp from Christian and Johnson, who pick up the win here. I love the momentum for Blake and Johnson. Nice to see the Kingdom here. We haven't seen them in a while. I didn't know if they were like still under contract or how things looked or whatever, but I'm a big Mike Bennett gal. Like I really like him and I like watching him work. So I appreciated this. I am kind of surprised that we didn't have like GYV, MXM, like that kind of crop that's been in the in-between space a little bit as a presence on the show. But I think the history just runs so deep with those guys that it makes sense here. So no problem with that. But glad to see Lee and Blake kind of continuing their momentum. I thought there was a possible, because of the nostalgia factor, that OGK goes over in this. But this was perfectly fine. This wasn't like the biggest thing on the card, but this was a perfectly cromulent match, as they say on The Simpsons as well.
Yeah, I saw somebody when we were talking about the Conglomeration versus Premier Athletes matchup. Someone brought up, this match being on the show was a crazy work. I was like, no. Yeah. I was like, I don't agree with that. I think this had much more of a place on this show than Conglomeration versus Premier Athlete. One, I gave y'all multiple reasons why that didn't work on this show. One is because it's hologram. He's always going to win. Two is because Premier Athletes are here. They're always going to lose. Why are you on this show if there's no doubt whatsoever? At least with this one, there is some doubt. The point of it is we are still building up the swirl to potentially go after the tag team titles, or even Blake Christian potentially going after a singles title. And three, what I said earlier about the functionality of Ring of Honor is we're trying to make make acts that will eventually go to AEW television. And they've already flirted with AEW television, but the fact that they now have a name to their whole group of the Swirl, the fact that you can see them really meshing together very well in the ring. They have double team moves now in their matches. You can see Blake Christian and Lee Johnson getting comfortable with one another and really coming together and bringing they're even getting matching gear now. Like they are working and working on the kinks before they eventually make it to the AEW main programming in the future. So I think that this had enough kind of checklist stuff of, okay, this is what this is for, this is what this is for, this is what this is for, that this had a purpose on this show. And I like seeing OGK, the Kingdom, back there. Mike Bennett looks so happy to be here. I don't know if anybody caught it. When he gets to the ring, he just gives a big old hug to Bobby Cruz, like he hasn't seen him in years and stuff. It was genuinely very sweet. Genuinely very
it was sweet. It really was. He just seems like the kindest dude. I love that guy. We have this chat to kind of close this out on this pay-per-view night, saying, who do you want in the future of ROH? Let's Crank. I love that Let's Crank is like a thing, by the way. That comes from a Virgil interview. That comes from a communication Shawn had with Virgil about setting up the interview, where he said, let's crank. And Shawn was like, I don't think I know what that means, but let's do it. In the simplest way possible, giving a shit. I want AEW to give a shit about this promotion. And nights like tonight are why, because you see the caliber of talent. You see the way this brand comes together. I talked about commentary extensively at the beginning of the show. You see the way that ROH fans show up for ROH events and not AEW leftovers, and how into it they are. Simply put, that's what I would like to see. What that entails is not only better booking in the obvious things of telling appropriate stories in these things, but to me, the biggest things are roster clarity, champion separation, and probably a studio setting or a commitment to making it a super indie or whatever. Like, I really think the taping schedule handcuffs what they're able to do with this brand, because they're always filming series of matches that get edited to be shows later, as opposed to a cohesive show that is taped for an ROH crowd with ROH intentions, like this just being the closers of the night and the openers of the night for Collision or whatever, is not something that's sustainable in fueling a promotion to be its own thing. Talent, there's endless ones I could talk about. You know what I mean? Like there's talent in AEW that I feel like could go to ROH and sharpen their teeth a little bit with better creative. There's people on the indies like a Becca. When I think of anybody that I would put in ROH, but the place that my brain goes to immediately is Jessica Troy from Australia. Actually, the Velocities from Australia in the tag division, I would love to see. There's so many people that they're not using. The Willie Max of the world would be fantastic if they actually got utilized. So talent-wise, I think we know what that could look like. I feel like they're in an identity crisis, even though SP3 did give us one entire example of one successful act that was already established for decades and moved from ROH to the main roster. But I would like to see some consistent. I'm always going to talk about TMDK. Like I think the Wolf Zaddies with Tito and Che would be great. Like, I think there's so many places you could go. So, but I know SP3 wants it to be the beef show and that he should win all the titles. So I'll let him take over what he wants to see from ROH and who he wants to see in ROH, because that's a great chat to kind of close us out here.
The story of Beef teaming up with his cousins, the Workhorsemen, to win the Trios Championship is a story that just writes itself. That should be the long-term story. That should be paid off at Final Battle. Since Beef was back on last week's ROH TV, he should be back, and he should be trying to recruit the Workhorsemen. He should be trying to prove how much better of a partner he is than Adam Priest. That eventually, in about like October or November, they do an Adam Priest and Beef matchup. Winner becomes tag team partners with the Workhorsemen. Beef gets the win, and then Workhorsemen begrudgingly have to be tag team partners with him. They could pick up a consecutive wins. They pick up 3 wins in a row, and they get a shot at the 6-man tag team titles. And they make a plan that they're not going to tag Beef in for the whole matchup. And then when it comes to Final Battle, he does eventually get tagged in, and he gets the win for the team. I just booked 4 months of television off one story. That's what I want from Ring of Honor. I just want them to do stories. I like the fact that going into this show a month ago, when he did a Supercard of Honor review, I can tell you that Tony Khan was probably planning on this show to do Bandido versus Hechicero, because they did the tease at the end of the last pay-per-view, and Paul Waterhauser versus QT Marshall, because they did the angle to build this in March. So this is very rare that we ever have a Ring of Honor pay-per-view where things feel planned out for multiple months. I just want that from my Ring of Honor, and I don't think that's too much to ask for, and I don't think that's something that's not possible with their current filming schedule. I feel like the filming schedule is now used as a crutch for them. It shouldn't be used as a crutch, because you've been doing this filming schedule for 2 years.
Yeah,
Get it together.
Like, other side, if you're not going to do that, you should have acclimated by now, for sure.
Acclimate. Just adapt, and just tell stories from week to week. And that's all you need to do. You can figure out a way to tell your stories. You don't even have to get people here every week. You do a match with them, and you film 2 to 3 backstage segments that you can air on the weeks that they're not here. It shouldn't always be, oh, we couldn't book them this week because they weren't available, or we couldn't book them in. Like, do more stuff with them when you do have them, and then you wouldn't have to worry about booking them the next week in Arkansas or wherever the hell you're gonna be. Like, it's just,
well, that is something
that's the main thing. It's an overarching thing, but that's the main thing that I want from ROH.
It's genuinely a problem for both Collision and ROH talent. It's more a problem for ROH talent in that if you're not booked for ROH, you're probably an independent wrestler, and your bookings are on Saturdays. So if you're taping Saturdays, that creates a big availability issue. And for wrestlers that are wrestling ROH in this, that's like I'm trying to get paid levels of things, right? Like you're mostly not on a guaranteed contract. So, but I do agree with you. And I saw Lucha Blog say the same thing, that this ROH pay-per-view feels like there are plans coming out of it. I also appreciate that Lucha Blog said, strong tribute to a previous era of ROH with the stream not working. That absolutely cracks me up, but closing us out here.
2010.
That's right. Exactly. But Roos is saying, Kate represent us Aussies. Gail Kim come to AEW. Whenever anybody says who should AEW sign, I say the rosters are deep enough. Go get Gail Kim, because that will be the door opening to more talent. But another chat saying, cheers to Miss Kate Fabe and former Quizzlemania champion SP3. Fantastic show. Both main events are match of the year contenders for sure. Bandido is the effing man. Yeah, we had a lot of fun talking about it. I'm gonna go watch it proper, because just like Bandido and Takeshita, I was doing the SmackDown review, so I am looking forward to it because everybody is talking about it. I really do appreciate that ROH talent always step it up so much. Sorry for Morton. You never have to look. You keep giving us money. We'll stay here. I'll stay here. SP3 can go to bed. I'll stay here till 4 a.m. You keep sending us money, but sorry for more. But TK said more free ROH on YouTube. That's a great call.
That's good news.
That's a great call. And whether that was a learning experience for tonight or something that's planned going forward, making it more accessible for people is a great call because the in-ring is always so great. And I feel like people actually go to YouTube. If it's not for segments like, oh, I want to watch that promo back, they're going to watch matches, especially this fan base. So I think that's a great call. But SP3, we're closing out here now. I was on True Heel Heat talking about predictions for this very show. But you are the truest, heeliest of all the heat. Talk to us about where we can find you. Becky Lynch is mentioning you. You're doing shows over there every day. Like, what? Let's tell people where they can find the main character, SP3.
Well, thank you, Kate. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for always calling upon me for the Ring of Honor pay-per-views. Always have a great time talking about this honorable ring that we all both and all of y'all watching probably do love as well. You can find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. I will be live once again on your YouTube screens tomorrow morning at 10:05 a.m. Eastern Time. The True Hill Heat flagship podcast. Myself, Miss Chrissy Love, the True Draw Josh, talking all about this week in wrestling, Forbidden Door, tonight's ROH. Death Before Dishonor, WWE, and everything in between. So check out the flagship podcast tomorrow on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel at 10:05 a.m. Eastern Time. Like Kate said, we did a preview for Death Before Dishonor over there. I did a preview today for WWE Clash in Paris over there with Maggie of Fightful Overbooked. So go over and check that out as well. You can see my written work at si.com. Yes, that is where I created the list that has now made me a part of every Becky Lynch promo. Thank you, Becky. And I'm no longer a Nikki Bella fan. And also you can see my other written work at WrestleTalk.com as well. And I am always on Fightful every week. On Tuesdays and Thursdays on Fightful Overbooked with Jeremy Lambert on In the Weeds, where we try not to talk about wrestling at all, but unfortunately we're a wrestling podcast, so eventually we do. But thank you for having me today. Appreciate y'all.
I'll announce here too, because I'm happy to do so, that Fightful will be stopping to the SP3 location for a residency for AEW Collision. He will be a long-term sub as Cresta is out from September 9th to mid-October. So you're going to get a lot more SP3 on Saturdays, which is only good things. Only good things as far as I'm concerned. But man, 3,350 of you watching right now makes it hard to end this stream, but we appreciate your support so much tonight and every night. Wish SRS a happy birthday while you're out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Lots more to come this weekend. Your Collision review, Grapsody, Clash in Paris review behind the paywall. We've got you covered, baby. So join us this weekend. Have a safe and wonderful wrestling weekend. We'll see you